All right, let's talk about Real Broker. If you're a real estate agent in Canada and you've been curious about this cloud-based brokerage, you're in the right spot. Today, I'm breaking down why I made the switch, what's been amazing, what's been surprising, and would I do it all over again? No fluff, just my honest review. So let's rewind for a second. Before I was with Real, I was with a big name brick and mortar brokerage, one of the biggest in Canada. And honestly, I wasn't looking to make a move. I was doing well. I had great clients. I wasn't unhappy, but I started hearing buzz about Real Broker coming to BC. They had already been in Alberta and Manitoba, but I'd heard that they're coming to BC. And I saw that some agents were making the switch and were planning to make the switch as it came to BC. So I just decided, well, let's just look into it and see what this actually is. So I dug in, and what I found, well, let's just say it made me rethink things. So I was a solo agent operating in this brick and mortar brokerage that I really have nothing bad to say at all. Good people, good management, and a good option for some. And within that brokerage, I was a top producer. I was in top 10 commonly, even top 2 or 3, several months, several quarters. So I was producing a lot. Some years, the amount that I paid into the brokerage were a lot of money. I could have bought a car one year with how much was paid into the brokerage, and that's fine. That's how that model essentially has to be because there is so much overhead. The power has to be on, the heat has to be on here in Canada. There's franchise fees that have to be paid. There's, secretaries and back-end staff that all have to be paid in every single office. So the fees have to be more. So I started producing a lot. Basically, I got to a point in my business where I wanted more of a life than just production and more income, more income. I couldn't go camping, for example. I just would have too many listings, 15 to 20 listings perhaps at times. Going for a weekend without cell coverage, not an option. It just couldn't happen. So my goal transitioned to sell as much real estate as I possibly can to let's try to find this balance, which I know is always the struggle in real estate. And I can't say that I've necessarily found balance, but I have found answers and grown my business in a more sustainable way and been able to spend more time with my family now. So how I did this was by determining, okay, well, I need to start a team. I need to start sharing this workload. And my goal necessarily wasn't to build this mega team, which would ramp up my income. My goal was to ramp up my lifestyle. And I knew that actually this might cost me money, especially at first. And it did at first. I essentially would be giving some transactions away to team members. Yes, there's a team split, but my goal was, again, to buy back more time and buy back an ability to actually step away and turn off my cell phone for a day or 2 or 3. So realizing that I wanted to make this team, I started looking into, team splits and what my current brokerage would offer. Um, at that time, essentially, the split for my team member would be the exact same. So I was paying X amount of cap into my brokerage, so would my team member. But my team member would also, along with that, have to pay the team split. And that's kind of a flaw because it starts costing team members a lot to be with a team. And that's why several you'll see will, be with a team for a year, 2 or 3, really learn the ropes, grow, and then leave because it quite simply is quite expensive to be at a team in many different structures. But at Real, the cap that they pay into the brokerage is actually halved. So Canadian now, I pay $15,000 Canadian into the brokerage every single year, but every team member pays half of that. So it's now $7,500 Canadian that they pay to the brokerage, and then that's over. The team split will still exist, and that's up to every single team what that looks like. But I looked at that, and I remembered how difficult and challenging my first year, especially, second year as well, but especially that first year, working my tail off every single day, all day, weekends. And then also I was on a very large brokerage split at that time. So if on my large, so this is 100%, I had a large brokerage split. And then if I had a referral fee too, sometimes I was getting 35% of a transaction actually is what I was seeing before expenses. So it was really challenging for me. And for my team members, one of them was coming in and they were going to be a brand new agent. Meanwhile, he was a family man, my age, had a wife, had children, and has to be able to provide for them. So if I could provide a way for that team member to make a living faster, to keep more of their money in that first year and keep on going, that to me became invaluable. That was the tipping point. That was the decision maker for me personally. And that's why I chose Real. Something like 87% of agents stop within the first 2 years because this is a challenging business and it is hard to crack that egg and start making a living. So if I could help my team member to start doing that faster and more sustainably so that they can have a higher odds of success and make a better living, okay, I'm in. So that was my deciding factor. That's why I joined Real. I now have a team with 2 other agents and it's going quite well. We've been together since I joined Real, essentially. That's right when the team was formed. I do feel that the value that's being provided to me and to all my team members definitely is worth the amount that we have to pay into the brokerage. The brokerage split and the idea and mindset behind it is not to be the cheapest in the industry. You will find cheaper brokerages, but the goal is to provide more value back to us than the money that we have to spend. And personally, I do feel that by being at Real. The amount that I spend, I get far more value, not just even monetarily with stock bonuses and revenue sharing opportunities, even just the tech, the tools, the flexibility that we're given, it's already worth that 15K in my opinion. Real is, of course, a cloud-based brokerage, meaning there's no physical office to walk into. Everything happens online. Training, transactions, support, and a lot of our collaboration is even online. So at first, I wasn't sure how I'd feel about that scenario and that switch. But here's the thing to also ask yourself. When's the last time you actually needed that physical office to go into? Most of my work happens at home, in my car, or at the coffee shop, when I have Wi-Fi or when I have cell service. And with the tech that Real provides, it made that transition actually very seamless. So just a little bit about the tech that they provide. We have our online platform called Reason, and it handles everything. Our transactions, our commissions, financial, much more. And then also built inside that, we have Leo, which is an AI-powered concierge that is getting smarter every day. Leo can actually answer questions about your transactions, about your commissions, and even remind you when you missed an initial on a document. So your managing broker doesn't have to do that. Essentially, Leo is the first set of eyes on a transaction and its documents and telling you what's missing. And then, of course, the managing broker will step in after to verify everything is good. Now, let's talk about the financial model because let's be honest, that's a big reason why agents look at switching brokerages. Real offers a straightforward commission structure with the $15,000 Canadian cap. And then there is revenue share. And a lot of companies are starting to offer this, but a lot of traditional brokerages still don't have revenue share. Real's revenue share system actually is sustainable. It's based on real production of an agent, not just recruiting for the sake of getting more warm bodies in. The revenue share is then shared when an agent comes in and then they produce. They start selling homes. Then there is revenue that they're bringing into Real, and a portion of that revenue that's brought into Real, instead of just going to franchise owners, is shared with agents within the brokerage. And then there's stock awards. Every time you close a deal, you're earning shares, stocks in a publicly traded company. But I could tell you right now, my past brokerage never handed out free stocks for just essentially me doing my job. But in the spirit of full transparency, let's talk about some of the challenges. If you're someone who loves that energy of a physical office, this model can take some adjustment, absolutely. There's no water cooler chat. There's fewer in-person training sessions. That still does exist. But Real has built really an insane online community. There's tons of live training, there's masterminds, there's collaboration. So if you're willing to engage online, you won't feel like you're alone on an island. Another thing that actually surprised me, in a good way though, was Real's ability to pivot and adapt and change to issues as they arise in our market, and even issues that arise in our brokerage, because it is a newer brokerage. We've only been around 10 years or so. So as we are expanding so rapidly, North America's fastest growing brokerage, there are hiccups that are being felt, but Real is really on top of expanding and growing what we have and fixing problems and making the agent experience the best it can be. That is really Real's goal. Their goal is to make the agent experience as fluid and just a no-brainer that an agent wants to be here because of all the value that they give us. Real is constantly rolling out new features, new tools, and ways to make our life easier. We actually are leading the way in the industry rather than playing catch up, which I think is pretty amazing. So would I do it again? Absolutely. Making the switch to Real Broker Canada was one of the best decisions I've made in my real estate business career. The flexibility, the tech, the financial incentives, it all just makes sense. And if you're an agent wondering if this could be a good fit for you, I'd be happy to chat. No pressure at all, just real talk about whether this could help you level up your business and if it would be a good fit or not. So continue to look into the brokerage if you are interested. If you have any questions or concerns, drop them in the comments, or you can find my email, my website below. You can reach out and we can have a chat.